Once you've gotten down the basics of solo raiding, a good thing to learn next is 4 to 0 Olm. This is especially important if you're looking to do no prep raids, since they'll reduce the amount of food that you have to use on Olm, as when you're doing 4 to 0 you actually don't take any damage. If you're looking to learn 4 to 0, I would strongly suggest that you have a strong understanding of Olm and his timings, as well as how to do 3 to 0 on the mage hand and 4 to 1 on the melee hand. If you can't do those yet, those are going to be much more helpful for you in completing solo raids. Otherwise, the only requirement to actually do 4 to 0 is that you have 4 tick weapons for both melee and mage. So the Trident and the Dragon Hunter Lance will do just fine, or you could use a whip or any of those kinds of items, basically anything but a scythe. You should also know that the only phase on Ulm that you can consistently perform 4 to 0 on is the third phase, which is the phase where his head is glowing. The reason for this is that in the earlier two phases, if you damage the melee hand too much, it will actually clench, meaning that you can't deal any more damage to it. That doesn't mean you can't use 4 to 0 on the previous phases, it just means that for phase 1 and 2, if you 4 to 0, you'll have to do it until the melee hand clenches, wait for it to unclench, and then repeat. The base 4 to 0 cycle is actually very easy. You start off with a mage hit on the right side safe spot, and then transition that into 2 melee hits, and then run back to the middle, and then go for a 4th melee hit. From there, you'll run back to the right safe spot, and switch to your mage gear, and repeat the cycle. There is one key thing you should know though, and that's that compared to the 3 to 0 mage hand method, where you start your mage attack on the right side safe spot, you actually have to run one tile past the right hand safe spot for your mage attack in 4 to 0. The reason for this is because you're attacking one tick behind Ulm, just like you do in 4 to 1, and so you run that one extra space to drag you further when you attack the mage hand. That will make you attack one tick later than you're used to. Now, of course, there's other ways you can do this, but this is just the easiest one that requires the least effort, so that's the one I like to use. As for your switching, I would suggest when you first start learning 4 to 0 that you keep it to just a two-way switch, so switching your weapon and your amulet. Once you can become more comfortable with 4 to 0, then you can increase the switches as much as you want. I personally am a bit of a burger at the old school RuneScape video game, so I keep it to just a simple three-way switch, which is more than enough. But if you want to go up to, even a 6-way switch if you want, then you can do it. There are also two exception scenarios that you need to memorize. The first one is if you splash your mage hit. Remember from 3 to 0 that if you splash your first hit on the mage hand, then there's a very good chance that Ulm's head will turn to the middle instead of to the left. And if that happens, then you can only go for one melee hit. Then you must immediately run back to one tile past the right safe spot and use your mage attack again. The other exception is if you hit your first mage attack, but then splash your first melee hit. That is, you hit a 0 on your melee hit. When that happens, you instead of going for 3 melee autos, you'll have to only go for 2. So you go for the 2 autos and run back one tile past the right hand safe spot and use mage again. As for setting 4 to 0 up, there are two really easy ways to do it. The first is to start on the right hand safe spot as if you're doing a 3 to 0. Hit the mage hand with your magic attack, and then run over, and then go straight into 4 to 0 with melee. And that will work flawlessly 100% of the time. The other way to do it is to start in the middle with your melee gear on, and then attack the melee hand right as Ulm's head turns, and then immediately run over to one tile past the right hand safe spot, and go into mage, and that'll put you straight into 4 to 0 as well. Starting off a phase is also very, very simple. You'll just stand right by the melee hand, and then right as the mage hand becomes attackable, attack the mage hand once, immediately run over one tile past the right hand safe spot, attack the mage hand again, and then switch to your melee gear as you're running to the middle, and then you'll be in 4 to 0. Now, if you want to get your Dragon Warhammer specs in, you'll do it immediately now. Getting one in is actually very easy and simple. You'll just go for one Dragon Warhammer special, run back to the middle and switch to your 4-tick weapon and go back into 4 to 0. Getting 2 Dragon Warhammer specs in is a bit awkward. You will have to lose ticks on it, but just do it as I show, and that is the best method that I found for getting 2. And that's pretty much all there is to know about 4 to 0. There is one more thing I'd like to talk about though, and that's the one tick behind mage method. So if you're not aware of what this is, it's totally unnecessary to learn. It only saves you a few ticks every time you do Ulm, but if you want to be perfectly optimal, then you might as well learn it. But like I said, completely optional. So what one tick behind Mage method is it's a method where a 3-0 method for Mage where you're attacking one tick behind normally. The reason for this is that it allows you to smoothly transition in and out of 4-0, unlike the 3-0 Mage Hand method, where because you're normally attacking at the same time as Olm's actions in 3-0, while in 4-0 you're attacking one tick behind. So the difference actually will make you lose a couple ticks every time, and the one tick behind 3-0 method prevents that. Now, lo and behold, it's really quite simple. It's pretty much the same as 3-0, you're just attacking, no surprise, one tick later than usual. Just like standard 3-0, you can choose whether you want to run the whole thing or mix in a bit of walking in order to save run energy. Now, of course, you can choose whether you want to walk by individually clicking one tile at a time or clicking the walk toggle in the top right. There's only one thing you really need to know about this method, and that's that when you're on the right-hand safe spot, you have to only walk one tile off the safe spot. The reason for this is if you run 2 tiles off, you're actually in range of the Mage Hand, so you won't run at the same time. So you must walk 1 tile to the left of the Mage Hand safe spot. And that's all there is to it. If you do this properly, you won't take any damage at all on phase 3, and it will also reduce the amount of damage you take in the earlier phases since you'll have less damage to do to the melee hand on your 4-1. In case you want some more footage to study in order to practice, I will leave a full kill playing right now, but otherwise that'll be it from me. So with that, good luck with your raiding and hope to get those juicy T-bows.